Damian Bartonic on behalf of Fox West Texas. And y'all already know the title, y'all see it. This is a mega episode. And with big episodes comes big time guests. None other than this guest right in front of you that you see on your screen, Adam Fugitt, my man, big time dub. Bro, tell me how life is going right now after you've processed this big time win.
Well, hey, thanks again for having me on, and thank you. I'm not sure I'm too big time, but yeah, no, I'm just living on cloud nine right now. After getting that W, and I'm super thankful that everything that I put into that camp, the move, the camp change, the fight camp with Kelvin Gastelum, that it all paid off, and we're looking at a new contract coming soon.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to ask you about that a little bit later, but I do want to know. I mean, you took a little bit of time off since the last time we saw you. Very, very tough fight against Mike Malott, great fighter as well. You took it was darn near a year, a little bit more than a year, actually, 5 days more than a year. And you seem to have come back. You had a really tough fight, and with your last opponent, but you came out on top, man. Tell me, just for you mentally, bro, how big of a win was that?
I mean, it was a huge weight off my shoulders. I was pretty much any interview I had, I was telling everybody, this is do or die. This is two guys that were both, down on our luck a little bit. We're 1-2 in our first contract. It's not a good look from the company. So I very much believe that was a winner stays and the loser kind of goes home type fight. A story I think that, many people can kind of gravitate to. So there was a ton of weight there, along with just the sacrifices I had, that I knew I had to make to go and get that W.
Yeah, and that fight, it was a real tough, grinded out kind of fight. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of surprised that it was a split decision. I was even more surprised that some people even thought that maybe you didn't win that fight. I thought they were nuts. I don't know what fight they were watching. But even for you, man, once that decision is read and your hand gets raised, bro, what's like the initial like response and feeling that you get? What's your brain telling you? What are you telling your brain in that moment whenever your hand first gets raised?
Yeah, it's quite the opposite of what I show, and I don't know. I don't know why I don't react more like I feel on the inside. I kind of like to. I don't know. I was just always taught, to act like you've been there before, and you won, and there's one guy over there that just lost, and it's never fun to rub it in their face. So I always just kind of and seal my emotions a little bit, but really I'm like Kevin Garnett inside, just at the top of my lungs. Anything's possible. We just did it, kind of thing.
That's awesome, bro. And I mean, like you mentioned, bro, this was a big fight for you. I know this was the last fight on your contract, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how much you can kind of tell me. I don't know if negotiations are ongoing. I don't know if they've already been done. If they have, and you want to share that, let me know. But what's it kind of looking for you now? Obviously, this is a big time. This is where you kind of want to end off on a contract, especially as you negotiate the next one. Tell me kind of how that's going. Can we expect to still see you in the UFC? How's all that working for you, bro?
I wish I could share more, because I wish I had more to share. Is really the thing. I've told that my manager told me that he's already talking to Sean Shelby on getting me my next contract. So UFC is where I want to be. That's the only promotion I want to be with. So because they're the big time. That's where all the best fighters are at. But as far as where they're at in contract negotiations, I'm not 100% yet. I'm just trusting my guy to go in there and get it done. And he told me to heal up and be ready, because he wants to put me back in there in there in the fall. We got to start stringing a couple wins together. And yeah, so look for me in the fall.
Absolutely. Are you is not to get too personal, but is Jason like the primary manager for you? Because I've
Yeah.
interviewed him many times. Okay, yeah, Jason will get something done. He'll figure something out. Yeah. I've interviewed him a couple of times. Yeah. I got a lot of faith in him, and I got a lot of faith in you. So yeah, we'll expect to
100%.
see. Yeah, we'll expect to see you in the UFC. Just a couple more
Yeah.
for you, bro. I know. I was looking at your bio, and I saw there's ties to Eugene, Oregon. I know one of the greatest or should I say, I'm going to troll, the greatest MMA fighter of all time, Chael Sonnen, is from Oregon. You know, you got a guy like Colby Covington that's also from there. Did you ever bump into those guys at any point during your up and coming time, whether it's whatever sport you were in?
So yeah, Colby, he was a year older than me and wrestled out at Thurston. Not really a rival school, but they were more cross town. We wrestled in the same the state division, but he always wrestled a weight class above me. Um, yeah, I mean, I was in the practice room with him like I think one time. Very very nice guy in the practice room. That's about all the experience I've had with him. Chael Sonnen. So he wrestled here at the U of O, and my high school wrestling coach, and yeah, both of them actually, my freshman and my varsity wrestling coaches, had a lot of experience with it, more of a relationship with Shell than I ever have. I bumped into Shell casually quite a few times. I mean, all my amateurs here in town, they fight up at the FCFF in Portland, which is Chael Sonnen's promotion. So you always see him there. But I never really was in the room with him. I was in the room with Ed Shortfuse Herman and Evan Dunham. Evan Dunham's another guy out of Eugene, Oregon. So I've been in the rooms with those guys, but never really outside of just the wrestling room with Colby and just outside of interactions with Chael.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I don't know what's up with y'all in Oregon, bro, but y'all have some just absolute bangers out there, man. Y'all just do y'all's thing. A lot of talent that's come from there, a high level, and I believe you're on your way there as well. Right now, you're sitting in a unique spot. You do have a lot to look forward to, and I think that, like I told you, I believe in Jason House. I think he'll figure something out. Um,
Right.
my last
I
one
got the
for you.
best man for the situation. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say the last question I had for you, man. Hypothetically, you're back in the fall. You're with the UFC. There's a lot of matchups in your weight division. I feel like 170 is the best division in I was gonna say in football, the best decision in all of MMA. Man, who do you kind of eye? Who's someone that you kind of really look at and say, you know what, that would be a fight that I want.
Oh man, that's turning the hunted into the hunter. I always joke around about having like a punchable face, and people, seemingly always wanting to fight me. So I've never really had to go on that, that other side of it and be the hunter. But kind of tuning into some of these recent events. I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm cherry picking or anything, but I honestly wasn't very impressed with Nico Price in his last performance. He's got he lost to Robbie Lawler, and then he just won his last fight. But he's kind of a veteran of the UFC. He's got quite a few fights there, so I like to take on some guy like that. There's also just kind of off the top of my head, I could see them put me. I can't remember his name, but he just fought Mickey Gall. I'm known to get linked into tough fights.
What's his name?
You know,
Yeah, he just fought. He just fought.
yeah,
Um, uh, and that was a great fight too.
right,
His fight with Mickey Gall. Basil Hafayez. Yeah.
yeah. So
Hafayez.
I wouldn't be surprised if somehow I got that name. So you know, I no easy fights in the UFC. You gotta take what they give you, and at least that's my experience. And you know, I'll be ready. I'm more than confident.
Absolutely. Hey, man, I appreciate your time again. I told you I was going to take too much of it. I appreciate you, taking the time to chat with me.
Yeah.
With that said, man, feel free. I'm going to give you the floor. Anything that you'd like to let the fans know, the viewers know, anything like that, bro, feel free.
Well, I'm gonna just shout out the three businesses that helped me accomplish what I needed to accomplish and with my move last camp. Skynet Security, Back to Strength Chiropractic, and Alpha Towing. Those guys are three local businesses. One up in Portland, and then two here in Eugene. Without them, I could have never made the move. And I honestly think that win directly is due to making the move down to Arizona. So without that, then I'm probably not talking to you here today. So much love to them.
Hey, man, I appreciate you again, brother. And yeah, hopefully the next time we chat, sometime in the fall, maybe after a good win against a Nico Price or Marcel Fayez. And man, I would love to revisit a lot more of these topics, brother. So I appreciate you very much, and you have a good rest of your day. All right.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, thanks for having me on. And hey, whenever you want to do this thing, you just let me know.
Damian Bartonic on behalf of Fox West Texas and the official host of MMA Monday, the only MMA show in San Angelo. Today I'm joined by a very special guest. This came up a big time dub, Miles Johns. Miles, my friend. It's looking good where you're at right now, man. Weather looks nice. Looks like it's about to rain though a little bit. Tell me about how
Yeah,
everything's going and how life's going, man.
man, life is good. I'm just hanging out in my backyard. It's a little cloudy, but I think the rain's gonna hold off. But man, everything's good. I'm on cloud nine. Right now I'm enjoying the victory. I'm thinking about what's next. Things look bright right now. The bantamweight division is popping, so I'm blessed, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the bantamweight division's popping. You're popping right now as well. Big time dub, two back-to-back really, really big wins, and that really culminated this past weekend. Man, just tell me about that feeling once the decision was read and you knew you won that fight, man. Tell me how good that felt, especially after the kind of the last few months that you've had.
It felt real good. This was a fight that I knew was going to be a staple fight in my career. I felt like it was a little bit of a test from Sean Shelby. I had won 3 fights in a row. Douglas's only loss, he was 29-5, and he's only lost to like top tier guys, Leroy Murphy, Sadner Magomedov, Peter Yan. Like, he has a win over Cheeto Vera. Like, this dude's been around, and his last one against Cody Stamen, he looked better than ever. So originally I thought that this was going to be a really big test for me. And that's where a lot of the emotion in the cage came from. But then when I was looking back, I was like, man, that was a little bit easier than I thought. And I probably could have made it look even easier, So I was really happy immediately. But then I'm also my biggest critic. Once I went back and I was like, dude, you got to believe in yourself even a little bit more, because you could have took this dude out in the first, probably. You're making it out to be this thing where it's going to be this war, and Douglas is going to come forward. I thought the same thing about Cody Gibson. This dude brings war. It doesn't matter who you are. He's coming forward. He's coming forward. He didn't. Once I punched him in the mouth, he stays on his back heels. Douglas, I was like, he's for sure going to be the one. Come forward, make this a war. This could be a big test, kid. Once I punched him in the mouth, he stayed on his back heels. Didn't want to come forward as much as he normally does, not nearly as much. So I'm happy, but I'm also my biggest critic. And I'm like, it's time to believe in ourselves a little bit more. And it's time to go in there and start taking these dudes out.
Yeah, and it's something that definitely, whenever you kind of reflect on it in retrospect, you're kind of like, man, I could have done this, I could have done that. But regardless of what you feel like you could have done, you still came home with the dub. And I think at base, that's kind of what you want. Right? You want to bring home that victory. I mentioned kind of how the last couple of months have been, really more so since about September, November in particular. I know you had that, the issue with the substance and stuff like that, but it seems like you really have learned from that entire situation. And it came to show in the fights, man. You put together 2 really good performances. What have you learned from that specific moment, and how do you feel like that paid off since then in these next 2 fights?
Dude, I've been through so much adversity in like the past, I would say 3 years, from changing gyms, from going from Fortis here to Kansas City. Just that in itself put a lot of stress on me. It was a really, really difficult thing to do when you've been somewhere for 10 years. So just that. And then I came here, and I was coming for James Krause, and he got pulled and suspended from coaching the night before my first fight with him, which was a 2-week notice fight against Vince Morales. He gets pulled from the corner, so we win that one. But then I don't have a coach after that, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I just moved here, all this, blah, 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 blah. Make it through that. Get to the Rayoni fight, feeling great, tear my freaking pec in my shoulder 2 days before the fight. Have to pull out. I'm broke. I got no money. Didn't get my show money. Didn't get nothing. And then finally get a fight. Find Trey. Everything's working out. Get a fight against Dan Argueta. And this BS M3 metabolite, 19 picograms. A picogram is a thousandth of a gram. Mess pops up. I did absolutely nothing wrong. I'm the straw that broke the camel's back. So the rules changed now. Like, according to the rules now, my test wouldn't even have been an issue. but I get sat on the bench for 4.5 months after that, and then we get the Cody Gibson fight, and then we get this fight, and now things are finally starting to turn up. You know what I mean? But I'm here. I've been through the adversity, but I expect it. My coach always says adversity is a backdrop of MMA and of life. Like, you got to expect adversity, and what you do in those times, what you do in those hard times is what makes or break you. So it seemed, when I look back, I'm like, man, you really were going through it. But I never had that mindset while I was in it. You know, I never took a victim approach. I always just took the approach of, what can I do about it? Like, what can I do next? Like, yeah, I thought that we were going to get paid for this fight. I was ready. I thought we at least get our show money. We get none of it. What am I going to do about it from here? Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. I did absolutely nothing. I took only informed choice thorn supplements, and I got popped for this, and people are saying I take steroids. But what am I going to do about it? You know, that's all there is. You only have what you do about it. So we made it through, and I'm just happy to be where we are now, and I feel like all the things that were done in the dark are coming to light. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And trust me, whenever, I saw the positive test, and I saw the picogram and all that, I was like, here's the thing that really, and I don't know how you feel about this, but here's what really annoys me about the drug testing is, if it truly doesn't have a performance enhancing benefit, it shouldn't come up as a pop test, because even when you're cycling, if you have that little of an amount, even when you cycle, it won't have a performance enhancing effect at whatsoever. It's not going to. Just like with Ryan Garcia and the Ostarine, you don't take Ostarine in small doses. Like, you have to truly max out your supplement of taking that. So I'm like, I trust me, I know exactly what you mean, and how they automatically
like, I didn't even know any of that. I know nothing about cycling. I know nothing. Like, it's never been something that's been okay in any sport. I was a college wrestler before that. Like, it's never been anything that's okay in any sport that I've ever done. We've always been tested. So I know so little about it. And it's just like, I know I got to make sure I take the supplements that have the green check. And I did that. And so it was literally the last thing I thought would ever pop up on there. So, but it's all good. You know.
Yeah, it is all good, because since then you got 2 dubs, you got your show money, your win money, man. You got a little bit of everything, man. Just tell me, now that we're here, you've come through so much adversity. You've been in the UFC for a long time. I wanted to say, just like Nate Diaz used to say, I've been in the UFC for hella years. You've been in the UFC for hella years. Like, you've been in the UFC for a minute. You've learned a lot. You've fought a lot of really, really good fighters, like an Adrian Yanez, Mario Bautista, a lot of guys who are on the cusp of, or either being ranked or being kind of in those contender fights. Where do you see yourself now? You're 30 years old. Your prime is coming. Kind of, where do you see yourself right now?
I see myself as it's time for me to fight in the top 15. It's time for me to get bigger fights, because, I have fought a lot of tough dudes. And the 2 dudes that I lost, I'm telling you, I beat myself before those fights. Like, I was not doing the things that I should have, or that I normally do for fights. I beat myself for sure. So I feel like I shouldn't even have lost those 2 fights. I feel like nobody's beat me when I'm at my best. And it's time for a bigger test. I think Douglas was a test from Sean, though. I think he wanted to see if I could hang with those guys. Douglas only lost the top tier guys, and I did. I feel like I passed with flying colors. So I'm just excited, man. I'm just excited to see what comes next.
All right, now you already know I got to ask you, bro. You said you're excited for what comes next. I have some ideas on who I would like to see, but I'm not the fighter. You are. Tell me, man, is there someone you're eyeing? Whenever I talk to Adrian Yanez, he told me he wants to fight Piotr Jan at some stage. For you, I see some people. I see a Dominic Cruz. I see a Pedro Munoz. I see a Jonathan Martinez. I think the Cruz and Munoz fight, especially with them being kind of older guys, I think it makes a lot of sense. From your perspective, I know you might say anytime, anywhere, but is there anyone that you kind of see and say, you know what, that's realistic for me?
Yeah, definitely. Ricky Simone, I think, is a realistic, nice next step. I don't know if he's still top 15. I think he is. I think he's number 15. But that one makes a lot of sense to me if he gets rid of Vinicius Oliveira, which I think he will. But maybe I'm sleeping on Vinicius. I don't know. That's one. People were saying a Pedro Munoz. Like, I would love that type of fight. I was thinking maybe I needed one more win before that, but he just lost to Kyler Phillips, and Kyler Phillips is like number 13 or number 12 or something. So it makes sense for me to fight Pedro to jump my way up into the rankings, and I would love that fight. I like Cruz. I like Cruz a lot. I've talked to him a lot with the commentary, but sometimes your idols become your rivals, so it is what it is. I think that'd be a good fight. And then Amin Zahibi, if it was somebody who was also like, if he wanted to do another one of like 2 up and comers, Amin Zahibi's been on a 4-fight win streak, 2 big knockouts in the midst of those 4, just beat one of the Basharat brothers who was undefeated. I think that'd be a great fight, but I've been saying that for a while. I don't think it's probably not on him. It's just Sean makes the matches he wants. So I'm not going to say he don't want the smoke, but I think we both know he don't really want the smoke.
hey, man. This has been a lot of fun. I got one more for you, and then I'll get out. I'll leave you alone. I promise. Man, obviously you fought twice this year already, March, June. To me, judging by your kind of your schedule, I could see you again maybe in October, maybe September, maybe November.
For sure.
What are you thinking? What time frame can we expect to see you again? And you said you want that ranked fight or something really, really close to it. When can we see you again? What are you eyeing?
September, October. I need to. My kids are gonna need some Christmas gifts, so I would love to step in there and handle something. And those names that I just said, and then what's his name? I mean, Raul Rosas is looking for a dance partner in the Sphere. Like you already know, if you need somebody, I'd step up to that. I'm here for all of it, man. I'm ready for a step up in competition. I'm ready to let these people know I'm top 15, but I'm here for fun fights too. If it's something like that, like let's get it popping. He really impressed me the way he put Ricky Tercios away. So we'll just see what's coming. That's type of fight though, where you already know you're gonna be the enemy, because the world they love them some Raul. So you go in there, they're gonna be booing you, but I'll be the bad guy. It's all right.
hey, to be fair, to be honest here, I do love Raul Rosas as well. I just love him because he's 19, because he's 19,
Yeah, and I'm no hater, bro. I'm no hater. Like, I like him too, and I'm like, bro, you're doing your thing. People love you. That don't mean I won't fight you.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a big fight, it's a game of stealing juice. Like, if I got to steal your juice, I'm sorry, but I already know everybody would be booing me for that one. So somebody's got to do it, though.
Absolutely. Hey, my friend, thank you so much for the time. Hey, hopefully we see you against Raul in the Sphere. That would be really, really dope. I want to give you the floor one last time. If there's anything you want to let the fans know, anyone that's watching, feel free, my brother. The floor is yours.
Just follow me on Instagram, guys. Miles Chapo Johns. Other than that, I appreciate you guys tuning in.
Absolutely. Thank you, my brother, for the time. You have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you in September, hopefully at the Sphere against Raul Rosas.